Well, good afternoon and welcome to episode 2 of What Thad Thinks, powered by Better Beans Branding. And I tell you, I think, the first thing I think this is going to be a good one. We had great reviews to our first episode last week. I want to thank everybody that downloaded or watched on YouTube. I really want to thank the 7 or 8 people that actually gave us 5 stars. And special thank you to my mom, who I think was the one that gave us a comment. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not. Anyway, so if you do have a chance, you do like what you hear, do make sure to leave some comments, give us a review, or just tell me just how bad you think I am. But for those of you that didn't download last week, I am Thad Joyner, a serial entrepreneur and CEO of Better Beans Branding, who is sponsoring this podcast. On this podcast, you do get to hear a lot about what Thad thinks. You can download it every Friday at 11:59 a.m. It goes live, or you can watch it on YouTube. My partner and friend, Neel, is on here as a time filler. He is not on here for his thoughts, his opinions, or anything other than to, get picked on and feed me easy softball questions. But he is my friend and partner. And welcome, Neel. How are you this week?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. That's a new picture on the wall, or a new angle of your webcam there.
Yes, that's correct.
Which one? New angle or new picture?
New picture. Actually, old picture put back up.
Yeah, still, that looks a little strange.
It's flowers.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling it.
It's not necessarily very masculine, but it is flowers.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with flowers. I love flowers, but it's just strange. Maybe orange. I don't know. Just very strange. Last week it was your hometowns and black and white boring pictures behind you. And I could tell that's you
maps.
Trying to splash it up.
That's maps. They were maps, to be specific.
Very small maps. Maps are typically large items. Maybe it's a piece of a map.
I accept that challenge. Wait till next Friday.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if it gets any better. Okay, so last week we left off a little bit with, I believe, someone owing someone some push-ups, or it was at least debatable about who'd push-ups. So the original part of the conversation was, were you using resonance in a plural sense? Is that okay to do? I think we have decided that you use the word improperly, right? So that was the first part of the argument. You absolutely used the word improperly. Are you agreeing to that?
Oh, I know where this is going. Sure, I agree. Let's hear what you got.
Are you okay?
Are you
agreeing that
are you only about to do 5 push-ups?
Are you agreeing that you did not use the word properly?
I agree. I did not.
Okay. Then the second part of it was I asked you to spell the word, and I wasn't real sure if you spelled it right or not. I'm the world's worst speller. But you did happen to spell the word correctly.
That's correct.
If there actually was a plural version of resonance, then you would have spelled the word correctly. I mean, it wasn't used in the right spot.
Oh, this is just garbage. What you're telling me.
Okay, so you used a word that doesn't exist. Like that word doesn't exist in the form that you used it. So it was impossible for you to spell it correctly because there is no spelling of that word. There's no correct word to go there.
I spelt a word that
So
exists.
I have talked to the judges.
Oh, you did?
They all feel like you owe me 10 push-ups this week.
Who are they?
The judges.
What judges?
They're in private. You don't get to know their names.
So you're allowed to have a private conversation with a judge.
I had an impartial judge and jury that could tell me, and they bought my argument that if the word was used improperly, then it obviously couldn't have been spelled correctly. So we're going to, like we said last week, you're going to manage your word. You're going to pay your bet, 10 push-ups.
Sure.
Go.
Sure. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. 10 push-ups.
On the screen now, live? Okay.
Well, while you're doing the push-ups, I'll start talking about other things. You go on down, do your push-ups. I don't need to see it.
I'm going to move over.
Okay, you do your push-ups,
start talking. And
I'll talk about what's going on in my world. So Neel's doing his push-ups, which, that seems fair to me. As he's thinking about that, I will talk about a couple things. I see now that the summer has kicked off, there are a lot of people traveling to Florida. Vacations are going on. There's no way you did 10 push-ups. That's not 10 push-ups.
I actually did 11.
Oh, well, good for you, man. Well, way to pay up on your bet. And I'm glad you did that. So what's happening in your world? I've been seeing a lot of vacations, people traveling to Florida, those types of things. What's going on in your world, Neel?
A lot going on. We are working real hard right now to finish an office space, our office space, in fact. So the Better Beans team is moving into brick and mortar, which is an exciting time for us. And so there's a lot of back and forward with final contractors and CEOs and Jordan.
Oh my God,
working on.
I mean, you need to be more interesting. I mean, if I'm going to have conversations and have you on here, I mean, like you're really going a long way in that conversation. But anyway, I do know this week that there are business seems to be getting back a little bit stronger. The childcare business is definitely picked up. The restaurants are kind of setting records for me in Florida, and it seems to be Better Beans business is starting to pick up, and some big projects are starting to pick up. So hopefully the people that are out there in podcast world, things are kind of picking up for you as well. I do know that, this week, as we've kind of handed the baton from pandemics being on the top of mind to now protests being on top of mind. And I know that's certainly taken over quite a bit of stuff, but, hopefully we will thoughtfully get through all of these times and be able to talk a little bit about business.
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on in your world right now?
Hey, believe it or not, I worked hard this morning, but then we're back playing baseball tournaments. So I was coaching a 13U baseball team, Signature Park Bears, to a win over a 14-year-old team. I mean, we just beat the brakes off of an older group of older boys, probably embarrassed them. But that was fun. My team was so excited. So we just won that. So that's why I'm dressed poorly today. That's why my face is so red. I've been on the baseball field, but I mean, Lord, how good does it feel to be back out there doing something like that?
That's right. That's an exciting time for sure, for those kids especially too.
Yep.
Well, hey, look, I want to talk a little bit about marketing and in general. Last week we talked a lot about the ways that we can create business in this time of pandemic and even prior to protests. What are some of your favorite marketing vehicles that you've had?
Oh, marketing. Well, let me say first is that I am a huge fan of local marketing. And if I get to talk a little bit about that today, I'm a huge fan of local marketing. And maybe if you say my favorite and most fun when I've been on operator is kind of guerrilla marketing. And I mean, we're kind of like no holds barred. My favorite is putting up yard signs across the street from competitors. I've had people hold signs up across the street of competitors. We have maybe my favorite of all time is
really
what?
Across the street, standing in the neighbor's yard going, hey.
Yeah, it was one of our child cares, and we needed kids, and our competitor had some, and I was brand new. So during drop-off and pickup time, we kind of held our signs up that said 3 months free to switch to us. Their owner called and complained, so the next day we sent 2 people.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not advocating that. I'm not saying do that. Please don't do that to me. But yeah, no, that was good times.
Would that be the guerrilla marketing?
That would be, being aggressive. And I think one night, we couldn't find any billboards to buy. So I found all these empty lots and we couldn't find the owners. The owners lived out of state. So one night we put, around our community, we put up 6 permanent wooden billboards, triangular billboards. We put our own up on their lots. And again, I'm not advocating that. This was early in my career. But we put them all up, and believe it or not, 10 years later, there's still 2 or 3 that are up that have never been taken down. It was like we put them up overnight, spent thousands of dollars to put them up overnight, and they stayed up. So not necessarily advocating trespassing in that way, but I will tell you, you asked my favorite. Those are my favorite. But I love 4 walls marketing the most. And excuse me, the main goal of local marketing And if you're really going to have an effective local marketing campaign, you need it to be regular, right? So it's got to be planned. It's got to be something you do every week, the same times of the week. You carve time out for somebody that can go do it. Because what you want is you want to be a part of the conversation anytime something in your industry comes up, right? So one of the reasons that we'll get out in our restaurant and we'll do what we call biscuit runs at Bojangles, and like 3 times a week we go to like 5 businesses. We take them a dozen free biscuits, and we take them a bunch of coupons, and we try to figure out who does their catering or anything else and let them know we cater, that we have breakfast, that we have lunch, that we have dinner. We let them know everything we have so that, hey man, 6 months from now, someone can be talking about catering, and man, we come up in the conversation. So you have to have so many of these interactions to be a part of the conversation in your local community. So if you're a school, you've got to be out there delivering something, talking to employers so that you're a part of the conversation. If you're a restaurant, you need to be out there. You've got to be a part of the conversation. You can't just count on just your signage and just the things that are at your building. So you need to have an active local marketing campaign. So that's kind of my, some of my favorite.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, listen, you said something. I wrote it down here. 4 walls. Tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean? What are you thinking about there?
Yeah. So the first place we talk about marketing before we ever will even go out in the community is we talk about marketing our 4 walls, which really extends past the 4 walls. It's really our property, and it really is our property and the neighbor's property. The whole entrance, the whole feeling, the whole ambiance as a customer is coming in, that we're going to use that to market. And the first way we market is just, are we building our brand? Do we have a great looking sign? Do we have great looking curb appeal? Is our landscaping amazing? Is everything clean? Are there annuals or perennial flowers out? Is there color? Do we look good? Do we look the part? So that's kind of first. Does the image of our building match what we want in our brand, the quality of product or service that we give? So that's what we're going to talk about, 4 walls and extension past the 4 walls. And then, we talk about inside the 4 walls, and I see some, we really have like 4 major rules inside the building for our 4 walls. Number 1 is, do not give your space to any other company. I go into a million businesses and I see business cards for, oil changes laying on someone's desk, or the local realtor's, flyer. Sometimes I see signs hanging from those people. I mean, that is your space. That is your brand. That is a place where you can make money. I picture it as, we don't advertise like this, but what you're building in your brand, even if if you want your image to be clean and crisp and professional, can you imagine going into an Apple store and seeing some realtor's, flyer hanging up on the wall? Not in a million years, right? That's not their brand. That's their space, and they want it clean and blue and silver, or whatever colors they're using right now. That's what they want. I see, do not give your space to anybody else. It is your space. So you either want it clean and beautiful and speaking to your brand, or you want a sign or signage or picture that either one gives you credit for how good you're doing, like pictures of your great cooks or your great food, or pictures of kids having fun, learning a great activity. Or you want it to advertise another special or advertise a referral program. So, this is your space. Do not give your space to somebody else. Number 2, the whole purpose of it is to build referral, repeat, and returning customers. You want to build referrals, build repeat customers, or get them to return based on what happens on those 4 walls. And that can be, even an action that you do inside the 4 walls. So I like to say, if a customer comes in for breakfast, are you giving them a coupon to come back for dinner? If they come in for dinner, are they getting a coupon to come back for lunch? If they come in for lunch, are you telling them about your specials on Friday lunch? I mean, you should always be doing something to build the next visit. If that's signage, or that is what your people are actually performing, doing, talking about when they're in your building. So you're using it for that. And you want to drive what you want to sell, right? And you want to use it to get credit. So you kind of have like 4 rules. 1 was, don't give your space to anybody else. 2, you're trying to build referral, repeat, return customers. 3, drive what you want to sell, advertise specials or advertise another program that you have. And the 4th is use your space to get credit for what a great job that you're doing.
That's super helpful. I appreciate that. You said something there about
like that when you don't know what you're supposed to say next.
What do I talk like?
You said that's super helpful.
Well, it's just good. It's a good segue.
That was a segue?
Yes.
I won't ask you to spell that because even I can spell that.
My arms are tired from push-ups. I can't spell anything right now. You said don't give away your space. But I know you've participated in partner programs with other companies, and do you rent that space or do you have a
if I was going,
yeah.
So, and good question. You have seen other people's stuff sometimes in our building, but it is a designated one spot, like a community board or something like that, where everybody can use it. And typically that was trade. So if we have in the past partnered with local businesses that, they can put their stuff up if we can get our stuff there. There can sometimes be a trade-off. But you already have a designated space, and it needs to be kept fresh, and it still needs to be kept on your brand.
That's great fantastic. Question. Yep. Okay. Great. Thank you for sharing that. You've got a lot of things going on. I think I heard you say earlier, or we were talking about, what's going on at Better Beans office earlier, and that we're really focusing in on design right now. So, and what things need to happen next, and even in our business, we've just come through a new branding effort with our website. But I wanted to have you kind of think about a little bit. Next week, Jordan Woodruff will be joining us on our webinar, and
oh yeah. So we've got so next week, I believe on the 10th, on next Wednesday, it's our second in our webinar series. I did the first one, but the Vice President of Design, who is everybody's favorite person in our company, which is Jordan Woodruff, she is going to be doing her very first webinar. I believe she's joining us, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan, are you there? Jordan. Jordan's there.
Hello.
What is up, Jordan?
Hey, everything.
Everything, huh? Now you're constantly like remodeling and doing crazy stuff to your house, right?
Oh my gosh. My husband gets driven crazy because I have new ideas every day, and I'm like, what if we do this today? Let's tear out all the kitchen cabinets. Let's repaint this 5 times.
Now you have a talented husband that is like a classical guitarist and a college professor and a professional woodworker. And I believe he's like an Alaskan fisherman. And like, so what would you do?
Amazing.
What would you do if you were married to an untalented person like me? So if it was time to do all this remodel stuff and you turned around and you're looking at me and you're going, hey, what if we do this right here? Can you do that? And I looked at you with like you had 6 eyeballs.
You'd have to say, okay, honey, let's go find somebody and I'll write the check.
You're very lucky that you have somebody that can do that stuff.
Oh my gosh, I know. Like I said, I drive him crazy. He was working on a wood art display wall for us in our house, and just out of scraps. I think I posted pictures about it a couple weeks ago, but I just come up with crazy ideas all the time, and he rolls with it. So it's good.
Well, he's done some pretty cool stuff for Better Beans too, and built a lot of custom pieces for a lot of great customers around the country. So are you pumped about your first webinar? And let's be honest, are you super nervous or are you super excited?
I'm both. Okay. I think I'm nervous just because I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've got enough content to talk about, but I don't want it to be, I don't think it's going to be, boring or anything like that. I think there's so many different ways you can take it. So many different directions you can go with interior design.
Oh yeah.
I actually want to talk a lot about just some trends, some of the new trends that we're seeing, with pattern and texture and color, and how that affects the lasting memory for your customer when they come in the door and when they leave, and how they remember you. And so that's kind of the direction that I'm going to go. And I hope that I can convey that well. But I'm excited about it.
We have some really cool creative meetings in our company talking about, these, for folks that don't know or hadn't been a part of it. I mean, typically the entire team of people from Better Beans kind of converge on a business, and we kind of come up with a design, and we have these amazing meetings where all this creative stuff comes out, and and you've got to, translate what the customer said and wanted to what, I'm saying that I want, what other people are saying they want. And then who's the one person that you don't listen to in those meetings? Like, who's the one person that you never listen to?
It's usually Neel.
Neel. Okay. Yeah. Neel? Was it Neel?
I mean, from a creative standpoint.
Really, you don't listen to what Neel thinks, even in meetings.
No, I mean, I do.
Oh, no, you already said it. We already got the sound bite. I think we've got it recorded. We've got that on there. But no, for real, the real question is, you mentioned trends. Okay, so how do you keep up? How does our entire design department even keep up with trends? I mean, it's something that's always changing, always doing. How do you keep up with that?
I'm online a ton, just researching and searching for new things, and I do a lot of shopping, which again, Dusty probably hates me for. But just immersing myself in those places. I go to tile stores, I'll go to flooring stores and paint stores and walk around and take pictures of things and just really try to immerse myself in all of the new things that are coming out. I usually also try to every year go to a couple of trade shows that actually will, really open the door to all of the new trends that are coming out for the following year, to try to stay up and go ahead. And then, getting out to market is really good too. I try to do that once or twice a year if I can. So this year it's been challenging. Hopefully I'll be able to go.
How often are trends changing in the design business? So, I mean, is it seasonal? I mean, can I say, okay, these are the 2021 winter designs are coming out next week? Or, I mean, is it seasonal?
No, I mean, it's so much of it, especially like residential stuff, is so personal. So it really just kind of depends. I mean, right now, like, I think we're kind of I don't want to say we're on the tail end of it, but like the Joanna Gaines farmhouse thing has been such a big wave. I think people just like the warmth of it. They like the texture of it. The big thing right now is kind of the cleaner version of that, mixing mid-century modern. And I mean, I feel like it, you'll get some that will last 10 years and some that will last 18 months. I think a lot of it's dependent on how it's received.
So, from your expert opinion, I mean, what is your opinion of that fantastic picture behind Neel's head?
My opinion?
Yeah.
I liked the maps.
You like the maps. Okay, we're not talking about the maps. We're talking about the picture.
I liked the maps.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I think you got your answer.
Maps back by Friday.
It's fine. I like the maps better.
Well, that's awesome. So, hey, look, we're all very excited about what's coming up for you this week. I think hopefully we get a big showing. Not too often people get a free webinar with a design expert. I can confidently say that I've had more than one person say that you're absolutely the best they've ever had or ever seen. You do amazing work. You're a tireless worker, and I appreciate it and glad to have you on our panel. So maybe we won't make you give away any of your content you're going to use this week, but hopefully everybody is just as excited. So now I'll thank you, Jordan. Thanks for joining us. Neel, thanks for giving me your push-ups.
Putting up.
It is now kind of time for What Thad Thinks. So it's a little bit of tornado style we're going to do. I mean, last week I gave you a somewhat soapbox speech on the American small business owner. Today is going to be tornado style. One of our, Ashley, our guest last week, said, "Hey, look, I really want you to like just give me tornado style. Give me 8 or 10 thoughts. Give me a little bit about what you think. Recap a little bit what we talked about, and we can hear what you think." So, by request, tornado style. This is what Thad thinks. Number one, Thad thinks the golden rule is something that people need to get out and read again. You've seen all these protests. You're seeing this horrible death of George Floyd. Seeing these crazy riots, and people just don't seem to get it. How you treat others, and treating others the way you want to be treated, I think that's what God commands us to be, and we will continue to be broken until we start treating one another the way we want to be treated. I think that Neel should have known that he should have made me do the push-ups. The bet was spelling. The bet wasn't that BS that I came up with. So he's a sucker. I made him do push-ups. Number 3, thugs, animals, racists, white supremacists, punks, idiots, Democrats, Republicans, conservative liberals. I'm tired of labels. How about we use words like person and people and human and friend and brother and sister? There's lots of room for differing opinions in America. And it's time we stop putting labels on everybody and start using respectful words to one another. You know what else Thad thinks? Thad thinks that the Major League Baseball and the NBA need to get off their butts and start playing. I do. What else Thad thinks? I think there will be college football this year. Woohoo! And we need it. I think local marketing is the heartbeat of small businesses. Get out there, be on people's minds when they have the conversations. I think Shawshank Redemption is the best movie ever made. I know that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Do not talk to me about Kobe or LeBron. Use your 4 walls. I think if you use your 4 walls to drive what you want to sell, to get credit for the work that you do, and do not share your space. I think that small business owners will thrive coming out of the pandemic and recession if and only if they focus on what they do best, and that is solve problems for customers and solve problems for employees. I think you should pray for your family, your community, and your country, and I think if we all follow the golden rule that we will start to heal this country. Hey, look, find branding, remodel graphics, and other marketing advice at betterbeansbranding.com, and see you next Friday at 11:59. Thank you so much.